Good morning. My name is Kate Glazer. I'm an assistant professor in cancer prevention and control here at Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Center. I'm also a program co-leader of cancer screening and survivorship, and today I'm here to run a morning yoga and intention setting for our Chapter 2 event. So let's begin. I have here a mat, a yoga mat. If you don't have a mat at home, you could use a towel. I also have 2 yoga blocks that I use for support. I'll walk through that. If you don't have blocks, you could use books that are the same height. I also have a yoga bolster in the back to support my spine and some of our poses. If you have a pillow or some blankets that you can roll up, that could serve as well. And I also do have a yoga blanket if anyone has issues with their knees and would like some cushioning under for some of our poses. So here we go. First, we're gonna find a comfortable seat. I have really tight hips, so I like to be propped up and have good alignment of my spine. You want to make sure that you stack your spine, starting from your head and neck over your waist and keeping a long spine. Spinal alignment is really important in yoga. If it's hard for you to keep your knees in a cross-legged position, you could extend them out in front if that's more comfortable for your knees. But we're going to start by gently closing our eyes and finding our breath. Not forcing anything, just noticing. Noticing each inhale and exhale as we find our breath. Letting go of anything that's happened so far today. Not thinking of anything yet to come. Just being fully present in the moment right here, right now. And as you continue to inhale and exhale, think about letting go of any tension you might be holding on to in any part of your body. Breathing deeper into those spaces and releasing a little more with each exhale. And as you continue to find this wave of breath, think about letting go of any tension you might be holding on to, starting from the crown of your head, softening the space between your eyes, relaxing your jaw and your tongue, continuing to inhale and exhale, moving down through the throat and neck, softening the shoulders, relaxing your arms and fingers. Breathing deeply into heart center, moving down, feeling the expansion of each breath in your abdomen, releasing any tension in your hips and thighs, moving down through your knees and ankles, and out through your feet and toes. And as you continue to inhale and exhale, reverse that body scan, moving up this time, noticing any spaces you left on the way down, starting once again with your feet and toes, moving up through your ankles and shins, relaxing through your knees, softening your hips, breathing once again deeply into your abdomen, moving up once again through heart center, softening the shoulders, arms and hands, moving up once again through the neck and throat, softening your jaw, relaxing your tongue, softening the space between your eyes, and moving out once again through the crown of your head. And as you continue to inhale and exhale, you may want to set an intention for your practice today. If nothing comes to mind, that's perfectly fine. I would offer gratitude for this glorious day, gratitude for the support of our community around us, and gratitude for this beautiful survivorship event. Taking 2 or 3 more inhales and exhales on your own. And when you're ready, gently opening your eyes once again as we prepare for some movement. Removing the blocks, we'll come to another seated position, extending the legs out in front. We'll start with some shoulder rolls, dropping your right ear towards your right shoulder, bringing the shoulders up, back, and down, lengthening through that left side neck. And on your next inhale, returning your head to neutral, dropping your chin towards your chest, releasing the back of the cervical spine, continuing to breathe. And on your next inhale, lifting to neutral again, and then dropping on your next inhale, left ear towards left shoulder. Continuing to breathe, lengthening through that right side neck. And on your next inhale, coming once again to neutral. We'll do that one more time. Dropping right ear towards right shoulder. You may want to lift and extend your right arm, gently placing it on your head, not tugging or pulling, just allowing that little bit of extra weight to release any tension in the side neck. Continuing to breathe. Releasing that hand, dropping chin towards chest one more time. Relaxing the cervical spine. And on your next inhale, dropping left ear towards left shoulder. Lifting once again through the left arm, if that feels comfortable, and gently placing it on top of your head. Once again, not tugging or pulling, just releasing any tension. Releasing the left arm if it's been placed, coming back once again to neutral. We'll take a couple shoulder rolls back up and down, continuing to breathe, starting to wake up the body. I encourage backward movement because we often spend so much time hunched forward. Releasing that, you can clasp your hands, noticing what thumb's on top. There's no right or wrong, it's just our natural body movement. And take some figure 8 motions to wake up the wrists. Continuing to breathe. Shaking that out, and now reversing that direction. Whatever thumb was on top, now on bottom. And taking a couple more wrist rotations. Continuing to breathe and releasing that side. Gently picking up your right leg, we'll take a couple ankle rolls, rotating our right foot in one direction, and then reversing as we prepare the body for some movement, releasing that side, taking one deep inhale and exhale before moving to the second side, lifting gently that left leg and starting some ankle rotations on the second foot. Making sure to rotate in one direction and then reversing. You might get some crackle and pops. I certainly do in my ankles, and that's okay. Releasing that side, taking one more deep inhale and exhale here before moving into tabletop pose. So coming onto your hands and knees, stacking your knees underneath your hips, hands underneath your shoulders. If that's a lot of tension on your hands, you can place them on blocks or make fists if that makes it more comfortable. But we'll start with a couple rounds of cat-cow, finding first a neutral spine, and on an inhale, lifting the gaze, bringing heart center forward, arching the spine, and on an exhale, rounding like a Halloween cat, moving through cat pose, pulling your belly away from your shirt, and moving through these 2 shapes on each inhale and exhale. Maybe staying in one position longer if it feels good, but waking up the spine as we prepare for some movement. Coming once again to neutral, removing one of the blocks, we'll lift our right hand up and then thread it underneath our left shoulder. Coming into this gentle stretch Once again, wakening up the spine, continuing to breathe. And on your next inhale, planting that left arm, lifting that right arm once again, and returning it back to our mat. We'll take the second side. On an inhale, lifting once again through that left arm, threading it underneath your right shoulder this time, coming into that gentle side stretch. Continuing to breathe. And on your next inhale, returning once again to neutral. Taking a few more rounds of cat-cow on an inhale, arching the spine into cow position, lifting the gaze, bringing heart center forward. And on an exhale, once again, rounding the spine, pulling belly away from your shirt, moving through these two shapes. Coming once again to neutral. If you do have blocks, planting them once again underneath your shoulders. You can extend that right leg behind you, tucking the toes, feeling strong in those legs, and maybe perhaps lifting the right arm. Coming into this balance type pose from our knees, lowering the left hand, bringing the right foot once again, planting the right knee under your right hip. We'll take the second side, this time extending through the left leg, long behind you, tucking the toes on an inhale, and perhaps lifting that right arm once again. Challenging our balance on the other side, continuing to breathe, extending that arm like you're shaking someone's hand, lowering the right side, right arm, and bringing the left knee back. We're gonna bring our toes to touch, widen our knees to the long edges of our mats, moving any props out of the way, and coming into child's pose. Bringing your forehead down to the mat. If that's hard, you can also plant it on a block. If at any point in your practice you feel you need a break, I would offer child's pose as an excellent way to reset. Continuing to breathe. Lifting the gaze once again, removing any props. We're gonna tuck our toes under, bring our hips up, back, and down, and come into our first downward facing dog. You may wanna lift the heels, walking your dog, pressing into your hands, releasing any tension in your neck, and coming into then a still down dog position. Taking one deep inhale and exhale here. We're gonna gently tiptoe our feet all the way up towards our hands and come into a widening our feet greater than hip distance apart and come into a ragdoll position. Shaking your head yes, shaking your head no. Planting your waist, your abdomen on your knees, deeply bending your knees. Maybe grabbing opposite elbows, coming into ragdoll position. Continuing to breathe. On your next inhale, we'll gently roll up, coming all the way up to stand, very slowly, coming up one vertebrae at a time, and coming to stand all the way at the top of your mat. Continuing to inhale and exhale, we'll do some half sun salutations. On an inhale, lifting the arms, lifting the gaze. On your exhale, bending through the knees, swan diving the hands down, coming to a forward fold position. Inhaling, bringing hands towards shins to a halfway lift. Exhaling once again to a forward fold, deeply bending your knees. And on an inhale, lifting the arms, lifting the gaze one more time. And exhale, bringing hands to heart center. One more, inhaling, lifting the arms, lifting the gaze. Swan diving all the way down to a forward fold. Inhaling, bringing hands towards shins, halfway lift. Exhaling once again to a forward fold, deeply bending through the knees. And inhaling all the way back up to stand. Exhaling, bringing hands to heart center. Inhaling, lifting the arms, lifting the gaze. Exhaling, swan diving all the way down to a forward fold, bending through the knees. Inhaling, bringing hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhaling to a forward fold once again, and inhaling all the way back up to stand. Exhaling, bringing hands to heart center. We'll start with some more movement, adding on to the sun salutation. Inhaling, lifting the arms, lifting the gaze. Exhaling, swan diving the arms all the way down to a forward fold. Inhaling to a halfway lift, and this time, gently stepping your left foot back, lowering that left knee, coming into a low lunge position. Rocking forward and back, wakening up the hamstrings. Once again, if you use blocks, this may be a good opportunity if it feels strained, but just rocking gently forward and back. Maybe peeling that right foot up, like peeling your foot off a gas pedal, just to lengthen through that hamstring. And then settling into this low lunge position. We'll plant our left hand down and heel toe that right foot to the outer edge of our mat, coming into a gentle hip opener on the right side. Continuing to breathe. Maybe lifting the arm, the right arm, lifting the gaze. Grateful for this glorious day. Returning once again to neutral. Bringing that right foot back, framing that foot, tucking the left toes underneath. We'll step that right foot back and down, coming into a downward facing dog. Taking 2 or 3 deep cleansing inhales and exhales here in down dog once again. And when you're ready, lifting through the left foot, we'll step that foot forward in between your hands, coming into a low lunge on the second side, lowering the right knee down. And once again, rocking forward and back, wakening up that left hamstring now, noticing any difference on the second side. There's no right or wrong, just noticing. Maybe once again, peeling up that foot, deepening that stretch into the hamstring, and then coming into a neutral low lunge position. Planting the right hand underneath the right shoulder. We'll heel toe out that left foot now, maybe planting the left hand on the left knee just to gently open the hip, lifting the gaze, continuing to breathe, maybe lifting that left arm up once again, coming into this low lunge hip opener. And on your next inhale, bringing that left foot back, framing that foot again, tucking the right toes underneath. We'll step up, back, and down once again into a downward facing dog. Taking 2 or 3 deep inhales and exhales here. And once again, walking the feet up towards the hand, coming into that forward fold position. On your next inhale, planting the hands on the shins, coming once again to a halfway lift. And then on an exhale, lowering once again. And on an inhale, coming up to stand, rising up once again. Exhaling, hands to heart center. We'll work on Warrior 2 now. So planting that right foot, you can release the arms. We're gonna gently step back our right foot and open our hips, keeping that left foot parallel with the short edges of our mat and keeping that right foot lined up to the middle part of our left foot. Coming into this Warrior 2 shape, bending and straightening that front knee. Maybe planting hands first on hips, wakening up that right quad, and settling into this Warrior 2 shape. Extending through the arms, flipping the palms, bending the elbows to make sure our shoulders are away from our ears. And then once again, extending that right and left arm straight forward and behind you, coming into Warrior 2. Gently gazing over that left or your right middle finger, coming into this strong warrior stance. You're all strong warriors. On an inhale, tipping backward, reversing the warrior. Coming back again, we'll just come to stand. This time, peeling the right foot towards the short edges of our mat, and we'll just switch sides. Once again, bringing hands to hips, pointing the left toes forward. We'll take the second side, bending and straightening that front knee, coming into this warrior two shape, keeping your hands on your hips to start, thinking about all that spinal alignment that we started with. And then settling into that warrior two on the second side, extending once again the arms forward and back. Maybe once again flipping the palms, bringing your shoulders away from your ears, and then extending once again. Coming into that strong warrior two shape on your second side. Continuing to inhale and exhale, feeling strong in these bodies that we have. On your next inhale, tipping once again back into a reverse warrior, and then coming once again to stand. Heel toeing your feet back together. Coming into a standing posture, we'll start a little bit of a standing sequence. So feeling firmly, we're gonna start in mountain pose, keeping our feet really firmly planted underneath our hips. That may be a little shorter or wider depending on where your hips are, but feeling strong in this mountain pose. You can extend your arms out to the side, feeling all of that alignment in your spine once again, maybe gently closing your eyes, recentering, finding that breath, and feeling strong in our mountain pose. If your eyes are closed, gently opening them once again, and we'll move into tree pose. So firmly planting now that left leg, bringing our right foot to a kickstand on the inside of our left ankle, maybe bringing hands towards hips, coming into this open hip position into tree pose. If this is not feeling challenging enough, you can bring your foot up to your calf or up above your knee, coming into full tree. But if not, keeping it as a kickstand right there, whatever makes you feel strongest, and continuing to breathe. Maybe lifting the arms, growing our tree, lifting the gaze, challenging the balance on the side, and exhaling, releasing that side. Planting now, this time the right foot coming firmly onto that, feeling the toe mound and the outer edge of the heel all firmly planted down. We'll bring the left ankle or left foot to the right ankle, taking tree on the second side. Once again, bringing hands towards hips, continuing to breathe. Once again, if this isn't challenging and you want to lift towards your calf or up above your knee, just never on the knee joint. Coming into the strong tree on the second side, continuing to breathe. Maybe extending the arms, lifting the gaze, growing your tree, maybe gently leaning back, showing the sky your heart, and releasing that side. Taking a modified flamingo pose, we will bring our right foot crossed over our left, bringing our arms out to the side. So right leg over, right arm under, coming into this gentle hug, into a modified flamingo pose. Continuing to breathe. Feeling that strength in that standing leg, maybe a gentle bend in the knee if it helps. And releasing that side. Noticing the differences once again between right and left. This time planting that right foot down, bringing our left foot to cross over, coming to a kickstand on the outside, extending through the arms once again. Left leg over, this time left arm under, coming into that hug again. If you hadn't had a hug today, enjoy the squeeze. It's also engaging the lymphatic system. Continuing to breathe. And releasing that side. Shaking it out a little bit. We'll come all the way down to our backs on our mats, and we'll start with some gentle bridge poses. If you have a block or a bolster, that may help, but just gently rolling down, coming onto your back. If using a bolster, lifting and planting the feet underneath your knees and lifting your hips up, and then planting it down once again, keeping your hips supported on the bolster. Continuing to breathe. Noticing this gentle seated position, reclined position. If this isn't as challenging for you and you want to lift the hips up, just to engage the thighs and the glutes, coming into a more active bridge, pressing into the heels, or just staying in supported bridge, continuing to breathe. If you are in active bridge, taking one more inhale and exhale and gently lowering back down. If you're in supported bridge, staying as you are, continuing to breathe. Once again, if you wanted to take active bridge, you can lift the hips up, pressing through the feet, engaging the glutes and the thighs, coming into this active bridge pose. Bridge is a heart opener as well. Continuing to breathe. If in active bridge, lowering down. If in supportive bridge, staying for one more inhale and exhale. Lifting the hips up once again, we'll remove any blocks down, lowering all the way to our spine. This time bringing the soles of our feet together, widening the legs into a butterfly position. You can bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. Feeling the active work you may have done as your heart, with a heart opener, as your heart pumps that blood through your body, you may feel the strength of your heart. Continuing to breathe. And when you're ready, taking your hands on the outside of your thighs, bringing the thighs together to touch, we'll gently roll over to our right side, extending the right arm long ahead, coming into this fetal position. This is the most open for your heart. Just taking a gentle moment. And when you're ready, pressing through that left hand, coming all the way back up to a seated position. We'll extend the lungs long out in front of us, really moving maybe some of that flesh out of the way, extending through the feet, coming into this seated staff pose here. Maybe gently closing your eyes once again, feeling strongly rooted down into the ground, continuing to breathe. Taking one more deep inhale and exhale. And when you're ready, gently folding, keeping a bend to your knees, folding over into a seated forward fold position. Keeping your feet active, engaging the hamstrings and stretching them, continuing to breathe. And on your next inhale, coming once again to a seated position, bringing your right leg to cross over your left. We'll come into this modified seated position, keeping that left foot active, really lengthening through your spine. And on your next inhale, gently folding over as much as possible, opening up that right hip. Continuing to breathe, feeling that nice stretch in the outer right hip. Coming once again up to a seated position, this time planting that right foot down. We're gonna take a gentle twist, bringing your right arm outside of your left arm on the outside of your right leg and twisting away. Twists are really good for change in seasons. Inhaling back to a seated position, lengthening that right foot once again, coming into this firm staff pose. Twists can be like clearing out your drawers in the change of seasons. As we move from summer to fall, you may feel some changes in your body as we get ready for the winter. It's good to do twists in that. So this time, once again, we'll bring our left foot, doing the second side, opening that left hip up, lengthening that right foot, keeping it strong. And on your next inhale, gently folding over, coming into the seated position, opening up, noticing the difference in that left hip. Continuing to breathe. And then taking that twist on the second side. So dropping that left foot down, planting it firmly, bringing your right arm around to hug towards the the left outer thigh, and then twisting towards the left. Continuing to breathe. Maybe gazing gently over the left shoulder if that's possible. Continuing to inhale and exhale. Releasing that second side, lengthening once again through the left leg. Coming into that staff pose, we'll do one more seated forward fold. On your next inhale, gently bending through the knees, folding forward as much as possible, bringing that heart center forward, thinking about keeping that alignment in the spine, that long straight spine. Continuing to breathe and coming up once again to a seated position. We'll take a reclined hip opener, so rolling all the way back down to your, once again, planting your feet firmly underneath your knees. We'll bring that right leg over, crossing it over left, coming into a seated figure four. If this is challenging enough, you can just stay here and breathe. If not, you can lift that left leg, gently cradle behind the left thigh, and add a little tension. Pulling your left knee towards your chest, opening up that right hip a little bit more. Continuing to breathe. And when you're ready, if your hands are clasped, releasing that left side, lowering the left leg, and then lifting that right leg to uncross, coming once again to this reclined position. And when you're ready, lifting the left leg up once again, crossing it over the right, and coming into this reclined hip opener on the second side. Continuing to inhale and exhale. If you did it on the second side and it felt good, you can clasp the hands behind the right thigh, engaging that right foot, just bringing a little bit more of a stretch into that left hip. We hold a lot of tension in our hips, especially women. It's really great to have a release. Continuing to breathe. Unclasping the right thigh, we'll uncross that left, coming back into this reclined position. And once again, your knees towards the right, towards the left. Reclined position. If you do have a bolster or a block, we'll come into a reclined inversion, just bringing our hips up onto the block and lifting our legs up in the air. Inversions are really great, especially a position like this. It disengages the nervous system and helps you relax, and it also brings all that stale blood. If you've been standing all day, it brings all of that stale blood back to your heart to refresh it. We'll stay here for a few minutes, just relaxing, continuing to breathe. Each inhale and exhale, refreshing. As we prepare for the end of our active practice, relaxing into this pose. Continuing to breathe. When you're ready, maybe wiggling the toes, bringing the feet once again down towards the mat. Lifting the hips up, removing any props, we'll come to our final resting position into Shavasana. Maybe taking a twist and turn before, so bringing that left knee in towards the right, in towards your chest, dropping that left leg over towards your right, coming into this reclined, twisted position, maybe dropping your left ear towards the mat, looking towards the left, continuing to breathe. Bringing that left leg once again to center, extending that left leg out. We'll take the second side, bringing this time right knee in towards chest and dropping it over towards the left, dropping your right ear towards the mat, glancing over that right shoulder, coming into this reclined, twisted position. And once again, coming to neutral, extending through that right leg, taking one deep stretch, lifting your arms up ahead, stretching your legs out behind you as we prepare for our final relaxation pose. And then moving into Shavasana. Letting go of any active breath work you may have held on to during your practice. Taking these last few moments as your reward for making it to your mat today. And relaxing into your final relaxation pose. Keeping the eyes closed, gently bringing some awareness back into your physical body, maybe wiggling fingers and toes, maybe rotating through ankles and wrists. Gently bending the knees, come once again into that fetal position, rolling towards the right or left side, extending the arm to rest the ear. Gently waking up the body. Keeping your eyes closed, planting whichever opposite hand can push you up towards a seated position. Coming into whatever easy seat you began with. Keeping your eyes closed or softening your gaze. We'll practice just a couple equal breathing positions while we're here. On each inhale, counting to 3 or 4. And on each exhale, doing the same, counting to 3 or 4. Taking a few deep breaths in this equal breathing, keeping that count. Maybe after your second or third breath, consider lengthening each inhale, moving to 3 or 4. 3 to 4 or 4 to 5. Taking these last few moments as your reward to making it to your mat today. Keeping your mind clear and just focusing on the breath. At the end of our yoga practice, we often end bringing hands towards heart center in gratitude for this opportunity to practice, to share this together today. Continuing to breathe, keeping mind in that intention we set in the morning of gratitude. We often end our yoga practice with the word namaste, one of the meanings of which means the light in me sees and honors that same bright and shining light in each and every one of you. I Grateful for this opportunity to teach today, for this opportunity to practice together. Together we say, Namaste. Have a wonderful day.